Good evening and welcome into the U Show. Ezra Janello along with you. The U Show, episode number 1 here in week 2 of the USHL. The weekly live show going over the current happenings around the USHL. And boy, are there a lot of things happening around the USHL. We're coming off a very busy week 2. We're getting into a very busy week 3. And tonight we'll break down everything going on around the USHL. Home openers, stars of the week, top plays of the week, and a look forward at the USHL's week 3 in the regular season and some matchups that we're looking forward to seeing this weekend. But of course, the first thing we got to talk about, the defending champs, the Fargo Force, raising the banner over at Shields Arena. A razor banding weekend, a big game for the Force. They picked up the 4-1 win over top of the USNTDP under-18 team. And the reigning USHL Player of the Year, Max Swanson, was in attendance as well. Not just a big night for the Force, but a big weekend for the Force as well. Rally for Demi night as well, raising over $66,000 for the former coach of the Force and in his battle against cancer. We obviously support Demi and his fight and support the Force in their rally for Demi. But not just in Fargo was it a big weekend. It was a big weekend in Cedar Rapids too, honoring a longtime member of the Rough Rider and USHL family, Chris Ipperson. Let's send things over to Cedar Rapids and their pregame ceremony for Ipper.
Eric, Wes, and Ann Ibsen. Linda Temple and Hannah Sayer. Family of our late trainer and equipment manager, Chris Ipper Ibsen. This evening, we remember a true Rough Rider. For more than 13 years, Ipper embodied dedication and hard work, earning the title of the hardest working man in hockey. His quiet strength touched everyone who knew him, and his absence is deeply felt. We are honored to have his loved ones here with us in his memory.
A very touching pregame ceremony in Cedar Rapids. Chris Ibsen, a longtime member, the equipment manager, hardest working man in hockey, and of course the USHL is joined by the Cedar Rapids Rough Riders in missing Chris from the facility. But not just in Cedar Rapids and Fargo, it was a big weekend all around the USHL. We take a look at the week 2 scoreboard. A couple of shootout wins on Friday night, highlighted by the Youngstown Phantoms and Chicago Steel over the Capitals and Lumberjacks. We talked about the Force picking up a 4-1 win over the NTDP. The Dubuque Fighting Saints, they protected home ice real well against a Western Conference opponent, the Tri-City Storm. And then the Lincoln Stars, you can't go over that game. 9-1 over the Green Bay Gamblers at home in the ice box. We're going to talk more about that matchup when we talk about top plays of the week. But back on Saturday, Chicago taking on the Phantoms, a 3-2 win for the Steel. A big jump in the standings for Chicago. The Muskies protected home ice again in the Battle of the Sioux Falls Stampede, paying a visit to the Musketeers. While back in Lincoln, it's a 5-4 win in overtime. The Fargo Force, they dropped the game against the 18s Waterloo at home over the Bucks. The Rough Riders dropped a 4-1 decision to Tri-City. And then a 1-0 final from the Bob Suiters Legacy 20 Arena Middleton. The Lumberjacks picking up a 1-0 win over the Capitals. How did that affect the USHL standings? Well, Chicago, they are at the top. 6 points in the USHL's Eastern Conference, followed by Cedar Rapids, the NTDP, Dubuque, Youngstown, and Muskegon, all with 4 points. Madison and Green Bay, they round out the Eastern Conference with 3 points each. Now, it's just early in the season. Expect some separation as the season goes on. Of course, this is the USHL any given Sunday, right? That's the saying. But so far, Chicago, the top of the East. Over in the Western Conference, it's Sioux City and Lincoln among the top. Waterloo with Sioux Falls, Fargo, and Tri-City in the middle. Des Moines and Omaha rounding out the USHL's Western Conference. We'll talk about Sioux City and Lincoln and the weekends coming up for those two teams. But first, some of the big performers in the USHL. We talked about Lincoln being atop the Western Conference. Well, Daniel Schlein, 7 points, pacing the USHL. Also leads in goals with 5. Sam Larilla from the Fargo Force, the defenseman, up there with 6 points from the blue line, the former NTDP defenseman. But a lot of blue and white in the Lincoln Stars. Schlein with Oliver and Picard. And then you look at that plus-minus. Oliver, Schlein, and Harrington leading the blue and white over in Lincoln. +6, +6, and +5. You see some Sioux Falls Stampede, some Sioux City Musketeers. Of course, you have some Eastern Conference players as well. Bobby Cowan, 2 goals and 1 goal in his games at the Fall Classic. Mikey Burchell, along with Colin Frank, up there for the Eastern Conference. Now, this is the graphic you're going to see some separation in as the season goes on. We go back to last year. We mentioned that the reigning USHL Player of the Year last year, Max Swanson, was back in the building at Shields Arena over the weekend. Matt Gridden, the USHL's point scorer last season, 83. Players don't necessarily have to be the top guy the year before to be the top guy the next year. I think Matt Gridden showed that off perfectly. Moving on to a first-round draft pick in the National Hockey League. But as we take a look at the USHL League leaders, we'll take one quick step aside. We'll hear from our great partners, Flow Hockey. And when we come back, we'll talk about not just the players that have been hot all season long, but the players that were hot this week and the USHL Players of the Week when we come back here on The U Show.
Welcome to the United States Hockey League.
Puck comes back out. Levshunov skating down. Nice move and a goal!
Just spectacular.
That's what an all USHL player does when the lights shine the brightest.
Celebrini, Finley, cuts in.
That's a good hit.
Go, boys, here we go.
What a stop! Stay on it, man. Stay on it.
Everything you got, staying on the hunt. Fuck hockey.
Welcome back into the U Show. Ezra Janello along with you. Flow Hockey, the official live stream partner of the USHL. Not just where you can catch all the action all season long, but we take a look back at the 2024 Dick's Sporting Goods Fall Classic and an all-access deep dive with the Des Moines Buccaneers. Flow Hockey bringing the content, drops tomorrow. Check it out on the USHL and Flow Hockey social media accounts. The Des Moines Buccaneers, the 2024 Dick's Sporting Goods Fall Classic, an event that every year garners a lot of attention, not just from the players in the USHL, the scouts scouting the USHL, and of course the fans sprinkled throughout the 16 cities within the USHL. Everybody coming down to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for one of the best events all season long, and we get a deep dive, all-access feature from Flow Hockey and the Des Moines Buccaneers. But now, let's take a look at this past week. Week 2 in the USAHL. Some home openers and some players that they felt the heat right off the bat. The forward of the week this week in the USAHL, that's Daniel Schlein with the Lincoln Stars. 2 games played, 6 points, 4 goals, and 2 assists for the first round draft pick this past summer. A +4 rating in those 2 games. We talked about the 9-1 win for Lincoln on Friday over the Gamblers, an overtime win on Saturday over Green Bay, and Daniel Schlein was pushing the pace all weekend long for the Stars back home at the Icebox in Lincoln, Nebraska. Earned himself his first USHL Forward of the Week honor in the 2024-25 season. On the back end, the Defenseman of the Week in the USHL Week 2, Dylan Compton of the Waterloo Blackhawks. 1 game for the Blackhawks, 2 goals for Dylan Compton, both of them on the power play. A blast from the point, taking advantage of a stickless netminder in the crease for the Bucks, and then later in the game, picking up another power play goal as well. Dylan Compton, the USHL's Defenseman of the Week for week number 2, did a great interview with Tim Harwood, the voice of the Blackhawks, earlier today. I recommend going and giving it a listen at the Waterloo Blackhawks Twitter page, but for now, the Defenseman of the Week, Dylan Compton. And then the Goalie of the Week, 1 game played for him. That's Shika Gadziev, a 1-0 record, 34 saves on 34 shots against, his first shutout of the campaign. Leads Shika Butin Gadziev to some, to a USHL Goaltender of the Week award here in week number 2. I got to sit down and chat with Shika earlier today about what the honor means to him and what this season and his transition as a Slovakian goalie, coming over to the USHL has been like. So let's take a trip back to our conversation with Shika Gadziev, the USHL's Goalie of the Week here in week number 2.
Shika,
Yes.
USHL Week 2 Goalie of the Week. Pretty decent game Saturday night. 34 saves on 34 shots, and this isn't something that's new for you, but within the past year and a half, the USHL is something that's pretty new for you. Last season, making your way from Slovakia to Muskegon. Talk to us about what that transition was like for you, going from Slovakia and making your way to North America and playing in Muskegon with the Lumberjacks.
It was totally different. It was something new for me, so I was so excited to have the opportunity to even be here and play for a Lumberjack. So it was a big honor for me, and big honor to play with the guys like Sasha Boawe, then Matvey Gridin, and Ethan Whitcomb. All these guys who was on development camps or drafted or in one of the biggest D1 schools. So it was an honor for me to play with them, to be here, to meet the fans, to meet you, to meet everyone. So it was an honor for me. I was so happy and I was so excited to be here in this team.
Yeah. How would you say on ice the USHL has affected your play style? Obviously, you announced your commitment over this summer to Michigan Tech, so earning that Division I commitment coming out of Muskegon. But other than that, how else has your experience in the USHL affected you on the ice?
It makes me better 100% because I can say that USHL is totally different league like what I played, because here in USHL you have players who can score, who can shoot and score. Like every shot can end up in behind your back. So everyone is 100% sure and 100% ready, I think, for a shot. So I have to be 100% sure and 100% ready for every shot because the guys can score and it's fast. So I have to be fast too. And it helped me out. I practiced that. I was working hard on it to be faster, to be more focused on the game, more focused on every shot, because how I said, the guys know how to score. The guys know how to play this game. So they were better than me at start, but then I worked hard. And
yeah, and for you now this week, USHL Goalie of the Week, it's not something that's new for you. I think this is your third or fourth time being the Goalie of the Week, dating back to last season when you got to the USHL. What does it mean to be honored by the league and by your peers as, a standout performer in the USHL?
It's amazing. It's like every time it's like amazing for me. It's awesome. It's awesome feeling because you're honored for something you deserve, because I was really playing really good, and I really wanted to win that game because it was our 3 losses in a row, and it would really help our team to win. It would really help me to win. So I actually put everything in the game. I was jumping there like a cat. So I didn't want let anything behind my back. So I deserve that, and I think it's awesome feeling. And I just want to say it's not just because of me, but I think I received that even because of my defensemen and even my players, because they put a lot of work in the third period, in the second, in the first to help me to had a goalie of the week. But it's amazing. I'm happy that I'm goalie of the week. I'm happy that USHL put it on my name. So I'm just happy every time. I hope there's going to be a lot of them. A lot of them this year. I believe that. I'm going to practice towards that, and I'm going to be happy every time I'm going to be goalie of the week. I'm going to be happiest man in the world.
What about the guys who might be back home considering making the move to come to North America and play to the USHL? What would you say to them as they make that decision?
Probably the best hockey, the better hockey. If they want to play somewhere, there is one of the best leagues where you can show yourself to the world. Like in Slovakia, you can show yourself to the world, but not like here. This is show. This is amazing. I love it here.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Moshika. I know the fans back home in Muskegon, they really love seeing you. It's a really great honor getting to be the goalie of the week, and like you said, you're working on getting that a couple more times this year. But for now, at least congratulations on your first one of the year.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Enjoy the rest of your day, Shika.
Thank you very much.
Well, welcome back into the U Show. Ezra Janello along with you. Got to speak with Shika Gadziev, the USHL Week 2 goaltender of the week. 1 game, 1 shutout, 34 saves on 34 shots fired by the Madison Capitals on Saturday night. And Shika not only gave some great insight as to what it takes to be the goalie of the week, right? Making a lot of saves, but giving some praise to his defensemen and forwards in front of him, blocking shots and picking up the win as a whole as a team, but also spoke a bit about being a Slovakian netminder coming from Europe and making his way to the USHL, what went into that decision and how it's impacted him, not only since his transition to the United States in the USHL has he earned himself a Division I scholarship or commitment to Michigan Tech, but he's also found himself growing as a netminder. The pace and the speed at which the USHL presents itself, he said every shot has a chance to go to the back of the net, and it's forced him to get better and be better in the crease for the Muskegon Lumberjacks. Joins Schlein and Compton as the USHL Week 2 Players of the Week, but there's so many people in the USHL that have phenomenal Week 2s, and some guys that had phenomenal plays in and of their own. Let's take a look at the Week 2 top 5 plays of the week. We send things over for number 5 to the Icebox. Blake Montgomery, a beauty backhand, leading the rush on the far side between the hash marks. He made it 1-1, tying the game up across from the Gamblers. At 4, we head to the Eastern Conference and the Fox Valley Ice Arena. Aiden Dyer sending a backdoor pass back to where it came from to help the Steel to their shootout win. Then we make our way to the shootout. Adam Bannock, a little shootout magic. How about it? Nifty little backhand from Bannock. The Phantoms, they ended up winning that game in the shootout. Making our way back to the Ice Box in Lincoln. Second play of the week. How about some OT hero action? Blake Montgomery, again, his second of the game. Being the netminder, the Stars 2-0 on the weekend atop the Western Conference with a sweep over the Green Bay Gamblers. But how about this? Perfect puck movement. The Dubuque Fighting Saints power play unit, the play of the week. A little no-look backhand backdoor pass on the advantage for the Fighting Saints. The top play in Week 2 of the USHL comes from the Fighting Saints, the reigning Eastern Conference champions, getting it done on the power play, and they'll look to get it done this weekend as well. We'll take a look at Week 3 in the USHL and the upcoming schedule. Of course, every game in the USHL can be found on the official live stream partner, Flow Hockey. Friday night, the Buccaneers play host to the Waterloo Blackhawks. Tri-City plays an interconference matchup against the visiting Madison Capitals. While back in the Eastern Conference, Cedar Rapids plays host to Youngstown. Dubuque looking to have more of that power play magic take on the Chicago Steel and the Green Bay Gamblers. Battle across from the Omaha Lancers as the nightcap. Saturday, 7 games going on in the USHL. The Storm and Capitals close their weekend series. The Stars pay a visit to the Stampede, while the Lumberjacks make their way back to the Fox Valley Ice Arena for the second time in 2 weeks to take on the Steel at home. Fargo plays host to Sioux City. The Gamblers and Lancers close their weekend series. The Rough Riders take on the Storm, and the Fighting Saints close out Week 3 in the USHL with a home date against the Waterloo Blackhawks. Week 3 in the USHL. All games can be found on the official live stream partner of the USHL, Flow Hockey. 2 games that we've got our eyes on. That's Youngstown at Cedar Rapids, a battle in the Eastern Conference on Friday. Then on Saturday, it's Sioux City paying a visit to the Fargo Force, the Musketeers atop the Western Conference, taking on the defending Anderson and Clark Cup champs on Flow Hockey this Saturday. So we took a look at last week. We took a look at next week. The only thing to do now is to close your eyes and pray that we get to the weekend in time, because fun, exciting action is coming up in the USHL this weekend, Friday and Saturday night. Flow Hockey, the official live stream partner of the USHL. We really appreciate you tuning in this Tuesday night to the U Show. We'll be back here next week, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. The U Show, breaking down everything going on in the USHL. Enjoy the rest of your night.